The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
Bitcoin's 0.1% of the capital in the world right now. I think it's going to go to 7% of the capital.
7%.
My long-term forecast is it's going to go to 13 million over 21 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, J Powell is about to send Bitcoin to 150K plus in Q4. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the main event. Breaking news, August CPI inflation falls to 2.5% in line with expectations. Core CPI was unchanged at 3.2, in line with expectations, but this is where it gets big. This marks the lowest annual inflation rate since March 2021. The first rate cut since 2020 is coming next week. So if you wondered why 58K is back on their revenge tour, well, just look at the data and come to your own conclusions about where Bitcoin will be by year's end. But I think we know. We know that we're about to exit this post-halving purgatory and head to Valhalla, all thanks to J Powell and the gang. I know the post-halving blues may have you down, but fret not and stay with us till the finish, because we got massive news and numbers showing us something the world has never seen. Well, it's coming. As Preston Pish would say, it's time to batten down the hatches. I'm Rustin, head of news at Simply Bitcoin, and we got some massively bullish developments to get to. Send it! Now let's dive into the news, shall we? Let's get it started right here. Bitcoin to break 100K after the U.S. election and mid-six figures within 2 years. It's not a stretch, and even CNBC has been on board with confirming regardless of who wins the election, we're likely seeing six-figure Bitcoin, and in like just a couple months. Hey, and if you watched our episode yesterday, you know about the supply shock that's coming, and we can see here, Bitcoin supply and exchanges continue to tighten, and it looks like the bull run is, it's about to start. Like right now. Let's see what they had to say. The combination of shrinking Bitcoin reserves and the rising stablecoin reserves is setting the stage for a bullish price breakout. With reduced Bitcoin supply and growing buying power, the market is primed for a potential upward move. Historically, the supply-demand imbalance has led to, significant gains. Now, the end of this report mentions that a major rally might be as close as just in the coming weeks. Quote, as the market supply tightens and buying power builds, we could be on the verge of a price rally. Investors should stay alert for a potential breakout in the coming weeks. It's like a growing consensus at this point. Then we get some bullish news on the adoption front, and who knew out of the UK, especially with what's been going on there in the recent weeks. But they just introduced a bill to clarify Bitcoin as property, and this will give owners of digital assets greater legal protection. And there was an interesting little section in this article. Central to the proposal is a new category of property in addition to the existing things in possession, which covers such items as money and cars and things in action, such as debt and shares. Bitcoin as money. Is the UK paving the way for Bitcoin as legal tender? Yeah, probably. But we got a lot more to get to here. Check this out. Someone do the math on this. Tether earned $6.2 billion in 2023, surpassing BlackRock, $5.5 billion. You know what the big difference is? Tether only has 100 employees. BlackRock, 20,000? Profit per capita? Is there a more efficient company on the planet? I don't know. I'm not agreeing with what Tether does, but these numbers are just like, holy crap. Okay, I know. Let's get to this, because I know you're tired of the news. Let's get to the bullish action. How will the Fed send Bitcoin to like 143,000 and beyond by the end of this year? Let's break it down. Let's start right here. We know there's a commercial real estate crisis like right here, right now. What was it, 2.7 trillion in total? And we have delinquencies rising and spreading beyond the office sector. A lot of people thinking the soft landing is good, blah, blah, blah. Back to that strong economy. We got the accounting giant PwC laying off around 2,000 employees, and that's interesting. It's its first layoff since the 2009 financial crisis. Is history repeating, rhyming? Looks like it. And sadly, I'm looking at this and it looks like, there's about 46% of the population we're just not going to be able to reach with Bitcoin. First step, you got to be able to read. Then, 8th to 10th grade math, boom, you're set. But as you heard it in the intro, and we've touched on it, Citigroup is predicting the Fed will cut interest rates by 1.25%. J Powell, he's back there in the bullpen warming up. Here comes Wild Thing. Send it, buddy. Remember when I said CNBC was on board with basically everything we're talking about today? You probably thought I was jocking your pull strap. Read 'em and weep. Bitcoin could soon hit six figures regardless of who wins the US election. None of us are bullish enough. And why don't we just go ahead and prove it? We got numbers, statistics, and data. As you can see here, it doesn't matter who wins. The national debt year by year is going to increase, and the amount of money printed is going to increase as well, exponentially. This is where we are in the story, and this is why there's no stopping this train. Tell them, Lynn.
If it's never addressed, let's just say we keep going the way we're going because we don't have the political will or we just don't wake up. What's the worst possible outcome?
The worst outcome is that basically the central bank kind of loses control of its ability to do monetary policy, because if you have an illiquid or otherwise unfunctioning treasury market, the Federal Reserve has to come in and essentially backstop it, and then you risk inflation. You risk kind of structurally large fiscal deficits, of which some of it is monetized, and you can go into a pretty significant period of currency debasement. The exact time frame is hard to measure exactly, but I think we're already seeing around the margins a number of consequences from these very large, big deficits, the inflationary backdrop that they add, and some of the pressures they put on different parts of the economy. In the intermediate term, nothing really stops this train. I think this is kind of locked in, but I do think that we are now more structurally in this period where we can't necessarily assume that the foreign sector is going to be buying a lot of our treasuries. We can't assume that the private sector is always ready to going to step in with reasonable yields. And even to the extent that they do, basically anyone holding those is likely to get gradually devalued in terms of their purchasing power over the next 5, 10, 15 years. A decade ago, this was a meaningful political item that would come up. They would debate, what are we going to do about the deficits? And now one of the things that both parties kind of agree on is not really to cut any of the major spending areas. They've got plenty of other differences, but the major areas of spending and the size are not really being like meaningful topics in the current political climate.
Aren't you guys sick of this crap? Well, you're not alone. So is Thomas Massey. And here's to the Bitcoiners refusing to be thespians in this fake political theater.
There's a bright, shiny object on this CR. I've never seen one of these. I have never seen a bright, shiny object attached to one of these must-pass bills. Oh, wait, no. It actually happens. There always is. A bright, shiny object, a bauble, if you will, a little something to get excited about. This SAVE Act, it's going to save us all. And by the way, this is good political theater. I do like this part of it. I mean, that's pretty clever on the part of our speaker to set that up, make you all take that vote. But here's what he's going to do after you take that vote. He's going to take it off. The bright, shiny object goes away. It's Lucy and the football again. And the American public is all revved up. Yeah, we're going to get to save it. We're going to save these elections. Really? How are you going to do that in like 6 weeks? I think they're already registered. This SAVE Act ain't going to save anything. And particularly because it ain't ever going to become law. It's a false promise to get all the Republicans half pregnant. And then you're going to get fully pregnant by the end of September when you vote for this CR. That is not going to have this, I mean, I hate to break this to you. I mean, the Democrats already know this. I'm not telling you anything special. I hate to break it to the Republicans. You ain't getting the SAVE Act. It is not going to stay on this bill. Why? Because we're going to cave. We're going to cave. Is it a fight worth having? Absolutely, it's a fight worth having. Make them take that vote as many times as you can, and then make them go to the ballot box in November. But that's what it is political theater, folks. We all know where it ends up. I've been here 12 years. I've seen it 12 times. I refuse to be a thespian in this failure theater. And with that, I yield back.
Hey, you guys know what it is. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped. And absolute scarcity, unconfiscatable wealth. These are things the world has never seen before. We got Bitcoin flying off exchanges, rate cuts, and massive money printing incoming. Now, what is all this going to do to Bitcoin's price? Let's go ahead and look at a little history and do a little 10th grade math and see what we come up with. Okay, so historically, it is incredible how Bitcoin has performed in Q4 in having years. Check this out. 2016, it was up 60%. And in 2020, it was up 160%. So if we go ahead and apply that to Bitcoin right now at a current price of 55K, and you can look at the numbers here, we're looking at anything from 88,000 all the way up to 143,000 if we repeat 2020. And if you were around, you remember we doubled in a matter of weeks. Things can get out of hand. But Rusted, in the title, you said 150K. Yeah, because I think they're being bearish. Because in 2020, you didn't have institutional demand, the mother of all supply shocks, money printing unlike we've ever seen, and geopolitical instability, high inflation. Oh yeah, baby. We're going to 150K beyond. Now you can see why I think 143K is a little bearish. Time to buckle up, Buttercup. And we have a winning strategy that you can start applying today to start maximizing your stack like Michael Saylor. But before revealing how to win and the level of conviction that it takes to do so, we're about to bring it home. But first, look at our likes.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Like and subscribe this video. Give us a pat as we take a moment to pay tribute to our sponsors, the masters of Bitcoin self-custody, the Bitcoin Way. Simply Bitcoin originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way. They bring over 25 years of cybersecurity experience. They are your IT team in the Bitcoin world. They help bridge that gap from the why Bitcoin to the how Bitcoin. And as your dedicated Bitcoin IT team, the Bitcoin Way is here to guide you from start to finish on your journey to properly self-custody your Bitcoin. From your first wallet node to advanced multi-sig security, inheritance planning, and much more, the Bitcoin Way has got you covered, and they will hold your hand and walk you through the process toward becoming a sovereign individual.
The only use of time is, how do I buy more Bitcoin? Take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business, it's in your family for 37 years, and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin. So what I would say is, use all your time to acquire Bitcoin, finance entities and weaker currencies to buy Bitcoin, or educate yourself on why this makes sense if you're not sure, and then educate everybody around you. If you're working for a company that's got $100 million in the treasury, you ought to convince the CEO and the board of directors to convert the treasury to Bitcoin. That's the most creative thing you can do. That'd be worth billions to them.
I mean, seriously, it's time to start asking yourself, how much do your chairs really mean to you?
This isn't real.
I don't think we need them where we're going. We're going to have hover boots. Make sure you don't forget to flip the switch, though. But in all seriousness, I mean, come on, are you really all in on the chair?
But when you go all in on something, I would say that does take conviction. Now, your conviction might be.
How many
coming from
chairs
first
are you sitting on
principles.
right now?
One.
Are you all in on the chair? The point really is, you put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. You're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones? The point really is, things in your life, do you drive in 10 cars at the same time or one car at one time? Do you drive down one street? Aren't you afraid that you're driving down one street? Do you take a different way? You get on one airplane? Are you convicted? You put your entire family on the one airplane? Aren't you afraid? When you use knives, do you have copper knives, wooden knives, steel knives, aluminum knives, rubber band knives, diamond knives, because you're afraid to commit to the right knife? It's a tool.
That's right, baby. Sell your chairs, reserve your seat. Valhalla is coming. Where do you think Bitcoin's gonna land by the end of this year? Let us know in the comments below. Hope you guys like this one. Be sure to like, subscribe, share that Sound Money Gospel. Set those notifications, because we're dropping content every day. Speaking of, Dante's dropping some heat tomorrow. You better be there. And if you're still not bullish enough, you still have full control of your motor skills, you might want to click this next video. Oh, and guys, special treat. Due to you being completely ungovernable, corporate has bent the knee. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.